Welcome to a new series. Hello everybody, it's Joel, your host, and welcome to a brand new Joel Homie Show series. That's right, a brand new Joel Homie Show series for the first time in upwards of 4 years on building my dream studio and workshop out of this
Brother, what's that?
shed. Let's take a tour! Hey, it's Editing Bay Joel here. I wanted to quickly break into the timeline of this video to film a clip in post that was originally supposed to come right before the exterior tour began, and that was a clip just giving a little bit of background information and history on the shed that is kind of just seemingly sitting in my front yard for no apparent reason. The long story short here is that this shed many years ago was my great-grandmother's workshop. She was a lady of many skills and attributes and spent her free time pursuing a lot of intuitive hobbies. She was a skilled carpenter, geologist, and a stonemason. And as we get into some of the later stages of the interior tour, we will come across what I call specialty tools and sort of some of these things that are identifiable as being a telltale sign of the shed's previous life and why it's been sitting for so long. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump back in time and get back to the tour. There's our friend Farah, and moving on to the exterior tour of the shed. The first things that I have to mention here is just that there is a lot of cosmetic work that needs to be done. But aside from that, there isn't too awful much that needs to be done to get the shed into a better condition. Now, the first thing here, as you can see by previous takes of this clip when I was kind of showing the condition of the paint, it's not in good condition, and now it's just kind of hanging there because I was kind of like grabbing it. But anywho, the paint's in horrible shape. As you can see, a lot of it is not adhered to the wood anymore, which is not good. And speaking of wood, this, I want to say this is like a 1x4. It's really thin. Or actually, this is a 2x4. That runs along the top here is rotted away from where the rain has been collecting over the last several years. And aside from that, some of the siding just needs a new coat of paint because water is able to get to some of the lower layers right now, and you can kind of see it's swelling just a little bit. But aside from the paint issues and some of these issues, the only other things that I would like to note on the exterior is one, this really nice staircase that my dad built years and years ago. That's built really nice. It's built out of 2x6s, some really thick wood on the side here. I don't even know what you'd call that's like a 2x10 or something really thick. And then you got 4x4s holding up a 2x4 handle. It's built really well, and I think there's a possibility if it were to sit here, it would probably outlast the shed. And two, due to the way that the shed has been settling over time, or maybe just the way that it was installed way back in, I want to say this shed was probably put in this space in the 80s or the early 90s at some point in time. I'm not really too sure, but it's been sitting here since at least that general era. And regardless of if it was installed maybe a little bit wrong then, or if it's been settling, I don't know. But The front of the shed sits a little bit lower than the rear of the shed, which has been causing a little bit of water to collect in these top two corners of the roof. But the other thing, and the reason I mentioned the staircase, is there's two doors. I don't need two doors though. They're both equally as big and they will both be able to serve the same purpose. So I think this one will be more than adequate for what I want to be able to put in the shed and move in and out. So I want to permanently close this one in favor of being able to gain more wall space. This side I would like to turn into the studio and kind of man cave space, for lack of a better word, as the videos for this channel I don't think will take up as much physical space as the workshop will. This side will be a little bit more dual purpose. But without further ado, going up this really nice staircase, moving on to the interior tour. This side is, well, the entire shed isn't very well lit, so I'll keep the door open for what little light I can provide to you guys and myself. And as you can see, this portion of the shed has already been cleaned out and it is in a semi-functional space. Now, of course, there is still a lot of stuff that I've been kind of collecting that is occupying the space right now, like some TVs that I was talking about. There's a little one in that black bag. And overall, there is just a lot of stuff in here that I've been collecting with the anticipation for being able to do more with this space as my view for the space kind of matures and whatnot. So I've got a TV I could potentially put on the wall in here to just kind of have as a background thing to watch the news, or I don't know. I don't really know why I said watch the news. I don't really watch the news, but I thought it'd be cool to potentially have a little TV in here, so when opportunities present themselves, I've been collecting things like the televisions, there's some air compressors, there's some toolboxes, and of course a lot of the stuff that was already in this space has stayed in here. Like that is the old Lego brick inventory for my old J&A Bricks channel that I used to run with my dad before that kind of fell out of fashion for him and I with the pandemic and whatnot. So he parted out the city, the old Lego city that I used to make videos on, and now all of the Legos from that city are on display in that room, but the tabletops and all of the stuff that the city sat on, plus the brick inventory, is now in my possession in favor of being able to reboot the Joel Homie Show and breathe some life into one of my many channels that have been sitting vacant for a while. That will not stay on this side of the shed though. This side of the shed, like I said, is going to be dual purpose. I want to have like a couch, a TV, and this is the side that I would like to install drywall and insulation and make it a actual nice livable space that I can enjoy with friends and whatnot and be able to make memories in with some old video game consoles. And overall, I want it to be a nice space that can be comfortable, as opposed to this side, which is pretty much how I want it. It's a workshop. It doesn't need to be comfortable or really, really nice or whatnot. I want it to be rugged and have a lot of potential to be used for anything and everything, which is also why I decided to clean it out first. This is going to be functional for as long as I can use it. This side is, well, really only going to be a man cave as well as a studio. And the reason that the studio wasn't a big concern for me immediately is because my room serves the purpose that this area will. And the reason I kind of keep pointing the camera over here, and the reason I mentioned the old Lego city, is because those tabletops that city used to sit on are very large, and I want to cut them down and be able to put a table here that goes from that side of the wall and comes out to right here. This will be where I film all of the new mock builds and product reviews and Lego videos for this channel. The rest of this room will be the sort of man cave. Like I said, I don't think the videos for this channel, like the kind of set and space that I need to film them, I don't think that'll take up nearly as much room as I was originally anticipating. Now, one of the biggest things to mention is that this was previously my great-grandmother's workshop, which is why there's a lot of wood and a lot of this sort of tools in here that she would use for woodworking, and she was a massive, massive wood mason, and I actually don't know if wood mason is the right term or not, but she liked wood carving, and she was a geologist. She could go out into the middle of nowhere, and she could tell you how to identify a geode, and you'd take it home, and you'd be like, this isn't a geode. You crack it open, and bam, it's a geode. She was really smart with this sort of stuff, and I'm really not. That's the only example I know how to bring up. She knew how to do way more than that, and I'm really kind of selling her skills short. She knew how to do a lot of stuff. There's a bandsaw up there, this bench grinder, and then you have a belt and disc sander. I do have an extension cord in here. I was able to get in here with a vacuum before I sanded a thing, but yeah, so the workbenches are cleaned off and they're in relatively good condition, and the reason that I decided to keep these ones over the workbenches on the other side is because these ones are not built nearly as well. They're built out of old countertops. They're a lot lower. The shelves aren't built as well. As you can see, they're kind of sagging in some spots. Whereas this one is built very, very beefy, and it's built very well. The tabletops are nice, thick, actual wood. They're not plywood. Well, they are plywood, but they're not this sort of plywood where it's a bunch of little pieces of wood pretending to be one piece of wood. This is about 4 pieces of wood sandwiched together, so there's a lot more integrity there, as opposed to having a workbench made out of like particle board like that one is. It's an old countertop, a very, very cheap countertop. And the legs are made out of 4x4s. Very, very nice workbench, and it's the reason I decided to keep this one. So yeah, overall, that is kind of the general plan for the shed. This side, I do have some time-lapse footage of cleaning it out. Like I said, I've been cleaning it out for a very long time, and over the duration of that time is when I've been collecting these TVs. I want to collect as much stuff to be able to expand upon the potential for this space as much as I can as my vision for the space in here matures, along with the air compressors, some toolboxes, the Lego pieces, which will be going on the other side, like I said, and then these old toolboxes. This one was very generously gifted to me by my grandfather ages ago, and I cleaned it, made it really nice, and then I had to sit outside because I didn't have a space to put it, but now I do, so it's in here next to one that Fixing Faming gave me. He's one of my very, very good friends in real life, and I absolutely, he's a great friend. And one day, he said, hey, you gave me a Christmas present. I never got to give you anything back. Are you free right now? And I said, yeah, I'm working on my shed. And he said, great. And then he showed up with a old Volvo wagon that he had actually bought off of my stepfather, Steve, the guy that had helped me work on the previous YouTube shed, for anyone that remembers that old series that's technically still ongoing. And in the back, he had this toolbox, and he was like, I have this toolbox. I don't need it. I think you're the person that could be able to benefit from it the most. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. That's amazing. Anyways, so this toolbox is currently still empty. I don't have anything in it yet, but it is a very, very nice toolbox. Well, it's not anything fancy, but it's nice in the sense that it is new, basically. It looks way less aged than that one, which these are probably about the same age if I had to guess, as, you know, they're near identical, just with different names on them. But anywho, with enough of my rambling, my point being that I have a lot of stuff to be able to turn this space into something special, and the reason I'm turning this into a series is, one, because I don't currently have a lot of content for the Joel Homie Show in kind of the backlogs and stuff that I can just kind of work on and post progressively. So I want to be able to work on this and share it with you guys as I work on it, so that I also have something to post. And on top of that, this is probably going to turn out to be one of the most special projects that I've ever worked on in my life. I don't think anything that I've done in my life previously will outmatch what this space will eventually become. Like the mini fridge, that will be going somewhere in here. The TVs will be going somewhere in here. The air compressors, the toolboxes, all of the Legos, the workbenches, all of the tools that are sitting in here, like the drill press. All of these things will go hand in hand in making this space something incredible that I can eventually use to make videos for this channel, up the ante and the quality for the videos that go out on this channel, as well as making content for another channel. So overall, on top of all these things, it will finally be a space for me to be able to work and pursue my passions and whatnot to a higher degree than I've been previously limited to. So yeah. That is, oh geez, that voice crack was horrible. But anyways, that was the point of today's video, was to give you guys a tour of how the shed currently stands and some of the kind of anticipation for what is to come. The first things that you will probably see in this series in part 2 and whatnot will probably be more cleaning the kind of space out and potentially maybe painting the tops of these tables, as I don't really want like water and stuff to be able to potentially saturate them, like you can see evidence of over there, and just kind of little things. But eventually, I don't know when it'll happen, because this element of the shed is a little bit more, you know, out of my reach, and I don't have nearly as much know-how or skills to know how to fix these things properly. For lack of a better word, I don't want to half-ass anything. So I don't know when the videos will come out on working on the exterior of the shed, but when they do, they do. So the first things that you guys will probably see is work on the interior, and if you have any suggestions for what you would like to see in this series, the sky is the limit. You can comment anything you want, and there's a potential that I might expand upon your input, and you will see it in a future video. But without further ado, I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching this video, as it does really, really mean the world to me that this series succeeds and is able to work and be enjoyable for you guys, as It is not only going to be kind of a series where I work on making a space to make future content, but it is also going to be a primary source of content for the channel going into the foreseeable future. So I hope that this is going to be a successful series and that you guys enjoy it as much as I do. And overall, there's a lot of tangents that I went on. I'm sorry that I rambled. I always ramble in my videos now. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff, like an old scroll saw sitting behind the bench right here. In that big box is a brand new scroll saw, sealed since 1994. There's a bunch of stuff that I got from my high school auto shop and a bunch of old tools that were hand-me-downs. There's a lot of cool stuff like parts cleaners. There's this shelf and whatnot, simple stuff, but really, really cool things that are going to make the potential of this space nearly endless. And overall, I think it's going to be it's going to turn out to be something that's truly incredible. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, it would be greatly appreciated if you could hit that like button. And if you'd like to get us to 800 subscribers, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. It says with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.